Okay, we've gone through our shopping cart, our checkout process. Now it's time to take a look at orders and how they come into WooCommerce. It's over here under this section here, unlike JigoShop, which actually had a separate orders area on the menu. Now, one of the things I like right off the bat that's different from JigoShop is it says here what the status is. Instead of just a colored button that you had to mouse over in order to remember what it means, this is color-coded and has the wording in it, so I find that much faster and easier to use. And I think overall I like the interface better here. So let's go in and see one of the orders here. Lots more detail and lots more laid out for you more easily, I think, on WooCommerce compared with JigoShop. Lots of things you can do here. This, of course, would be similar to ordering. If you clicked add an order, you could manually add an order. It would look very much like this. And then what you've got down here that I really like is your order notes. Rather than looking like comments, which sometimes gets a bit confusing, these are really clearly laid out as order notes. Anything to do with this order, it's like the history of what's happened with this order. And it's very handy to know, especially if you have multiple people working in your office. You can quickly figure out who's doing what and what's been happening with the order. And you can add your own notes, of course, here. The one thing I don't like, again, it shows custom fields automatically. Now, if you mess with this information here, even accidentally, this is important information that shouldn't be touched. And so personally, I would just go up to Screen Options and get rid of those custom fields altogether, just so we're not accidentally messing with something. There's all the items from the order. You could change things. You just have to be careful when you're changing things, especially if you're keeping track of inventory. If you change it here, you have to manually change the inventory. Whereas if you're tracking inventory, it's automatically taken off by the system when someone's ordering on their own. Lots of options here. You could email them an invoice, reduce the stock, again, if you've manually changed the order. So very nicely laid out, very easy to use. And the same is true for their emails. One of the drawbacks I found with JigoShop was that you couldn't change anything, virtually change nothing about the emails that go out. Let's have a quick look. This is where you can enter. I like the idea that you can have separate email addresses for order notifications versus inventory notifications because someone else might be handling inventory. Email sender options, who's it from, and so forth. Now, you can change the template, and I'm going to show you the templates in a moment. You can change some of the templates right from here, like putting in your own header image, changing what's in the footer, changing some of the colors. So that's really handy. You can do that right from here. But you can literally go in and change the templates completely. And they give you the instructions here. You would just copy the files from this area of WooCommerce and create a section in your theme called WooCommerce and put in the emails there. And it will look for them in that place. And again, this won't get overwritten if you change your theme, if you update your theme, I should say. If you change your theme, obviously you'd have to move those as well. But if you updated your theme, it's not going to get overwritten because it's totally separate from the theme. All right, let's have a quick look in our email program. So here's the difference. Look at this. Instead of a plain text email, which is very hard to read, and I found very hard to tell whether this was a new order or it was an update of information on my order. It was very hard to tell that. Here, the title is really, really clear. The order number, dates, all of these sorts of things, much, much easier to read. And again, this is the one that's coming into you to notify you that there's been a customer order. Here's the one that goes to the customer. Your order's been received. Here's the information, all of that sort of thing. Now, if you really want to get technical and change all of this, you can do it. Let me move to my text editor. Okay, these are the files that we talked about that you can copy from the WooCommerce files, put them into your theme. Now, this is getting into HTML and PHP, and so you want to be comfortable doing this. But even just to change some wording here, your order is complete. You could change that wording right in here. You could change the whole look of it. You could give it different colorings. Now you can do some of the coloring as we saw back here, but if you wanted to get more detailed and color certain lines or do whatever you want, easily done right from those templates. So very, very powerful user interface element here that you find in WooCommerce that's not in JigoShop. And it can be very important how people get their emails, how easy they are to read can really affect their experience. So something very, very powerful. And again, the order system I found much easier to use as well.